All right, I'm going to let him take it away. Father Colin, everybody.
Yeah. That's my best friend right there. Oh, yeah? My best friend.
Raise your hands if you're Father Colin's best friend. Yes! That's right. A lot of room in Father Colin's heart
I knew you
for
first.
best friends.
I knew you first.
So your boy Father Colin, your best friend, he was halfway up a mountain in the lower left-hand corner of Vermont. It was about year 4 or 5 of my 7-year stay in this Carthusian monastery. Carthusian monastery in the lower left-hand corner of Vermont, halfway up a mountain called Equinox. And I'm in this room with this guy, this man, a priest, a Jesuit priest, a Jesuit MD, medical doctor, priest, a Jesuit MD, Harvard-educated psychiatrist priest, who was a friend of the community. And he'd been visiting us for probably about 20 years to give a talk to the community every now and then, and to speak to any monk that, wanted to just spend some time with him. Because, well, you've read your Bibles, it's right there in the beginning. It's not good for the man to be alone, right? It's not good for the woman to be alone. So solitude and silence, which is what the Carthusians are all about. They're like the lunatic fringe. They're really way out there. It's like part of the program. It breaks your head, and then it breaks your heart. And I was on my way to getting my head broken pretty bad, actually, which for some of you can explain my sidewaysness. So I'm there talking to this priest, Jesuit psychiatrist, and he's doing his best to be patient. He's doing his best to be kind to me. And I had spoken to him over the years, more than a little bit. If I sit down, will you be able to see me, or should I stand up?
Sit.
Sit? So, he's doing his best to be patient with me and kind with me. And I take a breath, and he just lets the silence be for a moment. And then he sighs. I can remember this so vividly. He looks out the window. And he says, "You know what you got to do?" And he points out the window. And he says, "You got to spend more time looking at that tree. You got to spend more time looking at that tree." His point, basically, Colin, or as I was known in the monastery, Adrian, Dom Adrian, my middle name, baptism. Stop. Just cut it out. Quit the thinking. Enough with all this me. More tree. More tree. See, I gave up, or tried to, everyone and everything. My mom, my sister, my extended family, my closest friends, my work, my things that I was good at. All those things that kind of sort of define us in this world. Tried to give it all up. I went up there to that monastery, and had left everything behind except me. This. The monastery would have been great if only I wasn't there. If only this me wasn't there. Monastery would have been awesome. Solitude? That wasn't the problem. Silence? That wasn't the problem. This was the problem. In here. My head. And that little voice inside my head. I don't want to spoil the movie for you. When they make the movie, I used to think Bruce Willis would star in it, but he's not starring. But I used to think it was going to be Bruce Willis. I don't want to spoil the movie for you, and I don't want to take a lot of our time. So to make a very long story short, if you ask me. Father Colin.
Father Colin,
What's the one thing you most learned about yourself in the monastery?
what is the one thing you learned most about yourself in the monastery?
Thank you for asking. The one... Yes, Julie. Yes. And you wonder why she's my best friend. There it is. You know what I learned about me in the monastery? The one adjective that sums me, this wrong part of me, most up. Afraid. You boy, Father Colin, that's what he is. Afraid. Somebody on this campus who you all know, who will go nameless, because I don't want to throw him, and yes, it is a him, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but he looked at me one day, he gave me a tough assignment to talk to some people about a really difficult thing, and I said I'd do it, and I came back to him, and I said we're going to do it again, and he looked at me, and he said, you know, he said to me, you're not afraid of anything, are you? He was so wrong. I'm afraid of everything. Everyone. Everything. The only thing is, I don't let it get in the way. I keep going. I feel the fear, and I do it anyway. I just keep going. I was afraid in the monastery. I was afraid for my physical health. I was afraid for my psychological health, my emotional health. I was afraid for my spiritual health. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. I'd given up everything, everyone, gone up to that monastery to be there for God alone. I don't know, can I say this like this? Where the hell is he? Was my question. Where are you? Why aren't you here? I came here for you. I can remember in this time of year, the winter, and on the mountain the wind would just blow and blow and blow, like all day long and then all night long and all the day after and into the next night, and I just wanted it to stop, and I was afraid that the windows were going to palm in. I was just afraid. And stressed too. How weird is that? I didn't have anything to do. I had nowhere to go. No exams, no courses, no projects, no deadlines, no nothing. And I was as stressed out and as messed up, and maybe more, than ever I was out here in the world. Your boy, Father Colin, was going seriously sideways. And then this Jesuit priest psychiatrist says, just cut it out. Just stop. Look at the tree. Listen to the tree. Learn from the tree. I'm no reader of hearts and souls. And I know some of you more well than I know others of you. And I hope that changes. I hope we all get to know each other very well. And maybe this will be the semester. But I'm willing to bet that most of you in this room are a lot more like me than not like me. I'm willing to bet that most of you are a little bit afraid too. I'll bet you that most of you aren't quite sure you measure up. Not quite sure that you've got it. I'm willing to bet that more of you are more like me than not, and are afraid that you're just kidding people, fooling them. And if they only knew, you'd be more alone, more isolated, more cut off than any Carthusian monk anywhere, ever. Maybe you're a little like me. Maybe like me, you are stressed and strained and pushed and pulled this way and that. Well, take it from someone who felt like that before the monastery and then felt like that even more in the monastery. And know this. I'll only speak for myself, okay? I'll stop speaking for you. But maybe this resonates. Your boy, Father Colin, my problems are not my problems. My problems are not my problem. You know what my biggest problem is? Me. And the way I look at my problems. My problem is not my next deadline. My problem is not the next demand that's being put on me. My problem is not what he's saying about me, or what she's saying, or what he didn't say, or they didn't do. That's not my problem. The problem is me. That's what I learned in the monastery. And that's what I'm trying to take back to the world with me. One of the things I learned in the monastery. My problem is me. So, I've spent the last 23 years. I left the monastery just weeks before our brothers, John and Aaron, and, oh my God. Frank, sorry, thank you, died on this night in the building in which I live, Boland. I spent the last 23 years trying to work out a little bit of what I've learned and trying to share a little bit of what I learned. The tree. So, to give you a little bit of a takeaway, 3 life hacks, 3 monk hacks, 3 tree hacks. Tree hack number 1. Give your mind something better to do. Give your mind something better to do. I don't know what a tree thinks about all day, but most of the trees I meet look happy. And I think it's because They're not spending all of their time thinking about what's wrong with them, thinking about what's not right, thinking about what's off. Change the channel. Click. Swipe. Up, down, left, right. Give your mind something better to do. Phone a friend. Open the Psalms. Be the monk. Be the tree. God, if I had spent as much time, if I had only spent as much time thinking about Jesus as I thought about thinking myself in the monastery, things might have worked out differently for me. Give your mind something better to do. Be the tree. Look at the tree. Listen to the tree. Less me, more tree. Life hack number 1. Tree, monk, life hack number 2. Just enough. Just enough. Like the tree. Too much water, the tree gets sick. Too little water, the tree dies. Too much sun, tree withers. Too little sun, the tree fails to thrive. Just enough. Not too much sleep, not too little sleep. Not too much food, not too little food. Just enough. Be the monk. Be the tree. Life hack number 1, tree hack number 1, monk hack number 1. Give your mind something better to do. Look at the tree. Life hack, monk hack, tree hack number 2. Just enough. Just enough. Eat until you're just in that sweet spot between I'm hungry and I'm stuffed. Somewhere in the middle. Sleep. Just enough. Life hack number 2. Life hack number 3. Monk hack number 3. Tree hack number 3. I don't know about you. I have never ever met a tree that was in a hurry. I have never ever met a tree that was in a rush. I have never ever met a tree that was late. I know you got a lot going on, but the lot that you got going on is not your problem. You are your problem. And the way you think about your problems is your problem. Give yourself time. Give yourself time. Get places early, because you've given yourself plenty of time to get there. No rush. It's probably as I look at my watch, it's probably the biggest spiritual hazard in our corner of the world in this day and age. We rush too much. Slow it down a bit. You'll be amazed how much you can do, how much you can still get done if you just give yourself the time to do it. Give yourself the time to get to class. When you're in class, be in the class. When you leave the class, leave the class. Give yourself time. No rush. No hurry. I mean, you have to cut off a conversation. I mean, you have to turn off the device. No rush. Monk life tree hack number 1. Give your mind something better to do, Carlos. Enough. Less me, more tree. Monk tree life hack number 2. Just enough. Not too little, not too much. Just enough. Monk life Tree hack number 3. No rush. No rush. Trim things down just a little bit. Get up just a little bit earlier so you don't have to rush to that first thing. Give yourself time, like the tree. Your boy father Colin, your boy's afraid. He's afraid of you. He's afraid of them. He's afraid of President Putin. He's afraid of the enemy. He's just afraid. But when there's less me and more tree, when I'm not overeating and undersleeping and over tick-tocking, and when I am not rushing, but giving myself time to do what needs to be done, where it needs to be done, when it needs to be done, I'm a little less afraid, a little bit better. I won't tell you not to be afraid. Be afraid. Go ahead. Be honest with yourself. I'm afraid. And just do it anyway. Just do it anyway. I'm afraid I'll sit down now. What do we do next?